I think in your 20s, there was a time that you really, really were unhappy, and then you were trying to almost kill yourself.
Yeah, I planned my own suicide. I was in my late teens, early 20s. I was living with my best friend Gary Fields at the time, who was the first person that wasn't family or a close friend of the family that I actually sat down and told him, and that was an important moment for me to tell Gary. I think I was 12 years old maybe. And he was very accepting. Like, he just went, "Man, I don't care," right? And that was his answer. It was such a beautiful moment. But yeah, so I in my TEDx I tell the story of how much I wanted to find that best friend, right?
Yes.
My brother was my best friend,
Yeah.
but I think it's special to find someone sort of outside the family that you've had no connection with before. You find that ultimate stranger that you connect with, and Gary was that stranger for me. And then as I got into high school, what did I want? I wanted a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I had a really difficult time with intimacy.
Yes.
And as desperate as I was for a girlfriend, I did have a few girlfriends.
Yes.
It scared the hell out of me to be intimate with a girl or woman. As soon as we started getting intimate, I would stop talking to them. I'd stop all communication. I wouldn't answer the phone calls. I wouldn't call them. So inevitably they'd break up with me.
Yes.
I would never break up with them because I was so desperate,
Okay.
to be loved,
Yeah.
But I thought any girl would think I was disgusting, because if we're in an intimate moment and I have an accident, what is she going to
But
think?
it never happened. It never happened that you never happened those kind of situations with those.
I had situations where I'd sort of have to take off
Okay.
to the washroom kind of thing, but I never explained why. Just I would say I wasn't feeling well, sorry, I was sick. I was nauseous or had a stomach ache or
Yes.
something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't even oftentimes get to the point where we'd even come close to getting naked together because and I wasn't really happy with my body image either. I was a very skinny kid my whole life up until about 9 years ago, until I met this personal trainer, George, who's just helped change my life too. I weighed 129 pounds.
No way.
At almost, I'm 5'11 and a half, and I weighed 129 pounds, very underweight my whole life. But yeah, in that time, I wasn't just unhappy, I was depressed. I was self-medicating, alcohol and drugs, smoking a lot of marijuana, drinking a lot. I planned to take my own life. I had bought some pills. I took a plastic bag and an elastic and had it on my side table. And I'd had a lot to drink that day, and I was lying in bed and, preparing. Gary was actually already asleep.
Yes.
Down the hall, and I was extremely upset. I was crying, and I just started. I think I had just a moment of, wait a minute. What if I took my own life? How is that going to affect everybody else in my life? How is that going to affect the support system, right? Because, I've sort of learned, like, life. I know we can be very selfish,
Yes.
but life isn't just about us,
Yes.
right? Life is about all the relationships that we have, right? And there's an effect on all those relationships. And so what happens if I take my life tonight? How is that going to affect my mom and dad,
Yes.
my brother, my sisters, my stepmother? Just down the list I started going. My grandmother, who was still alive. And, Gary's my best friend who supported me all those years, and he's down the hall.
Yes.
So he's going to wake up and I'm going to be dead, right? That kind of thing destroys people's lives, right?
I think you saw the light, because most of the people that are trying to kill themselves, they don't see what they have. I think you saw, like, have people, because since you were a kid, you had people behind you. Since you have all the medical conditioning, before that happened, it just came back to you that I have people around me.
Yeah, I was fortunate because not everybody finds themselves in that position,
Yes.
right? That's the ugly reality of mental illness.
Yes.
Is it depends on where you are, because it's a mental illness is such an individual thing, right? You know, anxiety and depression and you know, schizophrenia. I mean, it just goes on, and you can't treat everybody the same way. You can't even treat everybody the same way that are suffering from depression. It's so individual. So you're right. I was fortunate that, you know, I had a lucid moment where I went, wait a minute, you know, I need to think about this, and realize that. And I kind of fooled myself for a long time. I pretended to be happy,
Yes.
even though I wasn't.
Yes.
You know, that's not to say I was depressed at all times. I'd have very happy, joyful moments, but deep down I was in a very dark place, and I wasn't happy in the position I was in life. And so I decided in that moment that not only do I owe it to them, but okay, I have to figure something out here. You know, I have to pull myself out of this. How am I going to go about that? And I decided I'd start telling more people. And so I started sharing it with not just friends, I'd share it with acquaintances, you know. I'd share it with the odd person colleague at work. You know, again, I wasn't shouting it from the rooftops, but just to give myself more of a comfort zone and understanding that how important that support group was. Maybe it's a good idea to start building it,
Yes,
right?
building it, yeah.
Building it even more. So if those people meant so much to me, what if I increased that support around me? What effect would that have on me? And it had an incredible effect on me.